All right, so that was not a fun game. Padres lose 7-0 in the series opener to the Rangers. Not a good game in that series finale against Boston. Not a good game here. So, two straight losses. And if you check social media tonight, you would think that like the world is ending. There are people saying Dylan Cease is cooked. And those that are bringing up like the concerns about Dylan Cease, that is valid. He has been inconsistent. And most of the time recently, the amount of runs that he has allowed in his outings are not acceptable. For the expectations that we have for Dylan Cease, that standard, how much we gave up for Dylan Cease, he's not pitching like that frontline starter consistently enough. But just because he's struggling doesn't mean that he's cooked. If you think that, then you must have not watched his last outing. His last outing, he was back to being the Dylan Cease that we want as Padres fans here. And today, it wasn't his night for a couple of reasons. One, we can start with the fastball. That was not good enough. He wasn't locating good enough, leaving pitches over the middle of the plate. So doubles were getting smoked, and Nathaniel Lowe got him a couple of times, couple home runs. The second one was the one that I was more irritated about. The first one, Lowe should have been struck out in the first inning anyway. It was strike three, and then later in the at bat, because obviously that pitch was called a ball by the umpire. Later in the at bat, he homers, and it was on a changeup that was up and out of the zone. And Lowe, as a lefty, pulled it to right. I mean, that's just raw, great power from him. I'm not really pissed off at Cease for that. Now, I don't think that's where Cease wanted to throw that pitch, but it's not like that was a pitch right down the middle. The second one, it's still impressive that he went the opposite way with it, but it was almost belt high over the plate. It was a mistake. And then the gappers that he gave up, mistakes. And then balls that were down the line, they ended up being fair instead of foul tonight. Balls that weren't hit hard, they ended up dropping in sometimes tonight. It was just one of those nights that it was not going to be Dylan Cease's night. And yes, the offense got to be better. You're not going to win baseball games when you score 0 runs. I know that's Captain Obvious, but it's the truth. But, like, it's not like Dylan Cease gave the Padres a great shot of winning tonight's game, you know? The pitch count was up there high. He was at, what, 60 pitches or something, and he wasn't through 3 innings yet? 3 and 2/3 innings is what he went tonight, 6 earned runs, couple walks, only 5 strikeouts. I think he had 9 last time out. Obviously, 2 home runs allowed. It doesn't help that on the other side, Nate Eovaldi shoves. Some of his pitches tonight were nasty. 7 innings, no earned runs. Doesn't help when you're walking a couple guys and Nate Eovaldi isn't walking anyone. So yeah, things are not going good. And no offense to Bryce Johnson, but when he was the only hit the Padres had off of Nathan Eovaldi, Bryce Johnson, that just goes to show you one, how nasty Eovaldi was tonight, and two, just how the Padres offense just wasn't good enough tonight. Um, it's not really hard to understand what went wrong tonight for this Padres team. There were some that were hit. It's also like it wasn't the Padres night in general, because some balls that they did hit hard, like Arise, like Merrill, they were hit at guys. Line drives to the outfield, and those are outs. Um, and like I mentioned a few moments ago, with the Rangers, sure, there were a couple of homers, but there were some that weren't hit incredibly hard, and they ended up being hits. The Rangers went 2 for 12 with runners in scoring position tonight, left 6 guys on base, and still won 7-0. So that just goes to show, like, the pitching not good enough. And the Padres had 1 guy in scoring position, 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position tonight, and that guy got into scoring position on a stolen base, Ha-Seong Kim, which is his 16th steal of the year. So hopefully this is a game that the Padres can flush. If you want to take a positive out of it, it's that the bullpen has had a couple of days off now, essentially. The big guys, Suarez, Estrada, right? Those guys have had a couple off, because today the only relievers that pitched was Kolek, Davis, and De Los Santos. Are those your high leverage reliever guys? No. So I guess that's a win, but no, I'm not going to act like tonight was this big win for the Padres, because they got blown out 7-0. But hey, there's still 3 games over 500. The national wild card mediocre. So that's the good thing. But yeah, I it was a good start to this road trip, obviously taking 2 out of 3, and it can still be a good road trip if they take the next 2. But if they don't, this Rangers team, it's not like they're the best team in baseball. They're 39 and 46 with this win, third in their division. What, 6.5, 7 games back of a wild card spot, a playoff spot? So this is a team that record-wise you should be able to beat. If there was a game though in this series that the Padres I would look at and like, "Oh, okay, yeah, they'll probably lose that game," or there's a there's a good chance, probably best chance of them losing that game based on the pitching matchups, it was today because of Cease's inconsistency and the fact that Nate Eovaldi was on the other side. Max Scherzer, I guess, is something that you is another one you could point to, but Max Scherzer is not the same guy that he was a few years ago. So that's why I would point to the Eovaldi game here tonight than Scherzer on Thursday, July 4th. So comments, feel free, leave your thoughts in those comments. And yeah, hopefully the Padres can take these next 2 games so that they can have a nice winning road trip here.